The Dragon Prince Battlecharged. This is a game that I saw demoed at Gen Con 2022. I tried it there, I was with my kids, we all liked it, so then later wanted to play it more, and especially my 12-year-old daughter and I have been playing this one quite a lot, trying different teams and trying different abilities and stuff like that. We really enjoyed, which is, I believe, all the most maybe significant since I never watched the TV show. Actually, I didn't know there was one. I started playing the game and I was already hooked before somebody told me that it's based on a Netflix TV show. So I can tell you already, this is a game that doesn't have to be necessarily for fans. I still have not seen a single episode. I want to watch it at some point. But the game is really good. It is a game of tactical combat that is really and definitely family friendly. There's violence because you're going to attack, but nobody dies. You're only knocking out the enemy. When a character's miniature is knocked out, the character or the player are not out of the game. So simply, when you knock out an enemy, an opponent, you take one of these tokens, and then the opponent that was knocked out will come back the following turn at full strength. But the first player to collect 3 such tokens, that means to knock out miniatures of the opponent 3 times. The first player to do so wins the game. The game is played on a tactical board such as this one, and the game comes with 3 such boards, and they're also double-sided. So awesome, a lot of variety there when it comes to setting up the battlefield. Each character in the competition is represented by a nice little miniatures, and you will add those rings there at the bottom to indicate who is the owner player of those miniatures. Again, very nice, even unpainted. And of course, from the art and illustration, I understand that these are based on famous characters from the TV show, but I don't know them. I've never seen them before. But even just by playing the game, I can see that the cast of characters is quite varied because it really looks like they do specialize in different things, at least when it comes to their tactical abilities. You got Rayla, and I may be mispronouncing the names because I never heard them, who is the hit-and-run elf, likes to move a lot, hit people, and then run away. This guy, who is the mage, who likes to take his time to set up enchantments that give effects over time. Claudia, the dark magic prodigy, who can inflict damage on herself and discard cards, so burning things in order to load up powerful attacks. This character who is solar powered and again can take her time to load up powerful attacks. Amaya, your reliable big tank. And then we have the Pokemon trainer guy who likes to eat snacks and call for mighty dragon strikes. He summon monsters. Sometimes they're cute, sometimes absolutely terrifying. So you got definitely a varied cast of characters. That is just to give you a sense. And each player will have a team of 2, so you can really mix and match a lot of these characters. Here there is a slot on the character's card for their energy, and you're going to use these custom tokens here to mark the level of energy. Usually when you want to use a special effect, you will need to spend some energy, and it can go down to 0. You can also perform various actions to load your energy, and the maximum that you can store is 5. Each character has different things that they can do in order to charge their energy. For example, whenever Amaya performs a basic attack, she gets a point of energy, and when Ezran does not make an attack, and charge 2 points of energy. Again, these characters really work in very different ways, which is great because I had a great time experimenting with different characters and different teams. Each character has a unique deck of cards identified by these microscopic letters there. So this is one for Claudia. And you have movement cards, attack cards, and then technique cards. These are the brown ones. So each character has a unique deck. And so, for example, here we have the deck for Ezran and the one for Janai, but I wanted the one for Amaya because these are the characters I'm playing now. When you identify the 2 decks that you're going to use for your team, you again take all of the corresponding cards and you shuffle them together, smash up style. It's a technique that I haven't seen in many other games. And so the deck for this team here will be made of the cards for these two, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle together, placed in a single deck, draw your hand of cards, the other team does the same, and you're basically good to go. Now, players will alternate activating, so I activate my team, and then you activate your team. When I activate my team, I can choose the order in which I activate my characters, and a character can move then attack, or attack then move, and also receive any number of effects from these cards. When I move, I can use the standard move of my character, that for Amaya would be 3, or I can also choose, if I have a movement card, to play it instead, and very often movement cards or other cards will have a cost, and that is when, remember, we spend this energy to basically power up, to fuel our basic effects. And so I can move, and then I can choose to attack if I'm within range and line of sight of my enemy. And again, each hero has a standard attack, a basic attack. For Amaya, it is melee, basically a range of only 1, and does 2 points of damage. Other characters have range attacks, like this guy here, who has a range of 3, but only 8 damage of 1. Or, when you're attacking, you can choose to, instead of using your basic one, to use an attack card. Again, there will be a cost, and the effect is what is described there. So, for movement and for attack, you have your basic one, which is always available on your card, and possible special ones that come from your deck, plus, again, a range of effects coming from the technique cards. Now, when you perform an attack, so you confirm that you have range and that you have a line of sight, but the opponent may be able to play effects that generate a shield symbol. And if like in this case, and if a shield is presented to an attack, the attack doesn't go through. It's not like part of the damage is avoided. All of it. Damage, once you calculate how much it would be, it's all or nothing. A shield blocks it all. But then there are effects, such as this ones, that crack the shield. They're called boost effects. I prefer, and we call them like pierce effect, because I like the idea that you're literally cracking the shield. So, I determine my damage. If my opponent plays a shield, that would block it until, unless I play a counter to that annuls the shield, and then I'm finally able to deliver that. So, after all is said and done, possible defenses and counter defenses have been played. An amount of damage points may be inflicted on the opponent. We use these tokens here to keep track of how much life a character has. When a character has lost all of their life points, again, they are knocked out temporarily. A trophy token is assigned to the other team. They'll come back later with all of whatever energy they still had charged. That remains the same. That doesn't change when you're knocked out. And that's the idea. That's the point. Maneuver on the battlefield, play your basic and advanced effects, movement and attacks as best you can. Knock out the opponents 3 times before they do that to you. And if you're able to do so, you win the game. What a surprise. What a surprise this game was. I did not expect it. I didn't even know that there was an IP surrounding it. So that's how kind of like flying blind I went into this. And I saw it on the board, on the table, and thought, this looks like a cute little tactical game that I can play with kids. It immediately reminded me of maybe a kid's version of some of those Warhammer board games that came out in the last couple of years, which are also card-driven, simple, tactical battles. And this one just struck me. It's so much fun. So much deeper and draws you in with much more force than I would have expected. Yes, to me this surpasses its sibling, its cousins, I should say, games of this similar idea. When it comes to simple tactical card-driven combat, this has to be one of the best ones that I can think of. Because it's so smooth, it flows so well, it strikes a perfect balance. It hits a really nice spot where you have enough complexity and enough variety that you're really thinking tactically. You're really trying to chain off effects. You're really seeing if this character can bait another, and then your other character will do something. But in the meanwhile, you know what the players are trying to do. So you're trying to take that into account. Maybe not to expose one of your miniatures to a double attack. You have that depth that you would expect, you do expect from games that are a lot more complicated, but you get that at the fraction of the overhead, at a fraction of the fiddliness, because once you decide your characters, you set a board, shuffle those two decks together, you basically set up like 80% of the game. And that's why, as I was playing with my daughter, my 12-year-old, we just kept playing one game after the other because she wanted to win again. She wins often. Or the times that she didn't win, then she wanted to go back to winning. And I wanted to try different combinations of characters. And every time I had a different experience with different boards, different characters. You have a surprisingly, a stunningly varied landscape of tactical options in a game that, yes, I played with 12-year-old, but you could also play it with somebody considerably younger than that. As long as they know how to read, I think they're gonna be fine. Maybe one thing that I will say, not all characters shine equally on all boards. There are certain maps in which a melee-based character is gonna have a harder time, but that's easily fixed. Then you simply still have such a range of characters to choose from that maybe just don't choose those, or make sure both players have at least a melee character in those more ranged based boards, and other boards are the play area is smaller, so it gets more like close and personal, and so you take that into account. But with that, my new skill, a little caveat about some boards and some characters, this is, I'm so impressed. It's such a good game. Again, I found myself drawn in and thinking in tactical terms and trying to maximize my effects and being taken aback when there's a combo coming on me that I did not expect. And I admire how smooth and well planned it has been, although it means I'm going to lose the game. You know, there are times that you're like, wow, I'm impressed to lose to such good strategy. This game does that. This game is disproportionately engaging and deep when you compare it with, I don't know, what I expect it to be, which is super subjective, or what you would have expected to be a game of this kind just, 20 years ago. If it was a game based on a show that is targeting young players, then you probably know it's not going to be very good. But I love that now we're in an age where the current renaissance of gaming has taken people, has persuaded designers to take all content seriously. And now you can have a game about a TV show for young players, which is just as compelling, as intelligent, as sophisticated as a game, directed to adults only. I'm impressed. I'm super impressed. The Dragon Prince Battlecharged is such a good game. And remember, this is coming for somebody who has absolutely no previous emotional attachment to the show, something that may, color my perspective. This is a nostalgia. Oh, I want to bring back those great moments, those great memories, which I don't have. I approach this game as a game, and I gotta tell you, this game is an absolute joy to play. I was so impressed, so pleased to have discovered the Dragon Prince Battlecharged, and I highly recommend it to, well, pretty much anybody and everybody who loves games, because it is this good.